The day I got fired, my boss was wearing the watch I gave him for his birthday. I didn't notice it at first. I was too focused on the manila envelope he slid across his desk, the one with my name printed on it in cold, corporate font. But when he leaned back in his leather chair, hands clasped behind his head, the gold bracelet caught the afternoon light streaming through his corner office window. That watch cost me 3 months of saving. "I'm sorry, Marcus," he said, not sounding sorry at all. "The company's restructuring. We have to let some people go." David Chen, my mentor, my friend, the man who told me I had a future here when I was just a 22-year-old kid, fresh out of college with more hope than sense. He'd taken me under his wing at Meridian Tech, taught me everything about software sales, invited me to his home for dinners with his family. I'd trusted him completely. For 6 years, I gave that company everything. 80-hour weeks, missed birthdays, a failed relationship because I was always building my career. I'd brought in over $40 million in revenue. I was the top performer 3 years running. And now I was holding a severance package that wouldn't cover 2 months of rent. "I don't understand," I said, my voice barely steady. "My numbers are the best on the team. I just closed the Techron deal last month, 18 million. You said—" "I know what I said." He stood up, adjusting his cufflinks. The same cufflinks I'd gotten him last Christmas. "But it's not just about numbers anymore. The board wants to take things in a new direction. Younger blood, fresh perspectives." Younger blood. I was 28. "Who's taking over my accounts?" He hesitated, just for a second, but I saw it. "We're redistributing them across the team. Look, Marcus, you're talented. You'll land on your feet. I'll write you a recommendation letter." I should have seen it coming. The signs were all there. The closed-door meetings he'd started having with Brett Williamson, the golden boy who joined the company only 2 years ago. The way David had slowly stopped including me in client dinners. How my commission structure had been temporarily adjusted last quarter. But I didn't want to see it, because seeing it would mean admitting that the man I looked up to, the man I'd trusted like a father, was capable of betrayal. I cleaned out my desk in silence while the office watched. Sarah from accounting looked away. Tom from marketing suddenly became very interested in his phone. These were people I'd celebrated with, collaborated with, considered friends. No one said goodbye. The apartment felt different when I got home at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. Wrong. Like I was trespassing in someone else's life. I sat in the dark for hours, just staring at the wall. That manila envelope on the coffee table mocking me. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Kyle, an old colleague who'd left Meridian 6 months ago. "Dude, I just heard. I'm so sorry. Call me when you can." I called him. "Marcus, man, I don't know how to tell you this." Kyle's voice was tight. "But you need to know. David's been planning this for months." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" "Brett Williamson, David's nephew, his sister's kid. David's been grooming him to take over your position since the day he was hired. All your accounts, all your client relationships, they're transferring to Brett tomorrow morning. David's even putting Brett's name on some of the deals you closed." The room tilted. "That's not possible. I closed those deals. I have the contracts, the emails. David's been documenting everything differently in the system. He's been CCing Brett on your client communications for months, making it look like Brett was integral to the process. He's rewriting history, Marcus, and there's more." I couldn't breathe. "That Techron deal, the 18 million, your commission on that was supposed to be 180K. David's claiming you only assisted on the deal. He's paying you out at 30K and giving the rest to Brett as a performance bonus. It's already approved. $150,000. Stolen. Just like that." "I have proof," Kyle continued. "Screenshots. Emails. I grabbed what I could before I left. I always thought David was shady, but I didn't know how bad until I was on the outside looking in. This guy's been systematically stealing credit and commissions from his team for years. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat with my laptop, reading through everything Kyle sent me. Emails where David explicitly took credit for my work. Slack messages where he joked about managing Marcus out with HR. Financial documents showing commission theft dating back 3 years. Almost $500,000. That's what he'd stolen from me. But it wasn't just about money. It was about every dinner I'd missed, every relationship I'd sacrificed, every time I'd stayed late because David said we were building something special together, every time I'd trusted him when he said my hard work would pay off. He'd looked me in the eye and lied, over and over again. The betrayal was so complete, so calculated, that it felt physical, like something rotting inside my chest. I could have gone to a lawyer immediately, could have filed complaints with the labor board, could have caused a scene. But anger makes you sloppy, and I wasn't going to be sloppy. I was going to be patient. The first thing I did was disappear. I didn't post on social media, didn't respond to messages from old colleagues checking in. I let everyone at Meridian think I was broken, beaten, probably drinking myself into oblivion somewhere. In reality, I was studying. I spent 3 months learning everything about employment law, contract law, and corporate fraud. I documented everything, every email, every text, every piece of evidence Kyle had given me. I created timelines, spreadsheets, and a paper trail that even a forensic accountant would admire. Then I started making calls. First, to every major client I'd ever brought to Meridian. Not to badmouth the company, nothing that obvious. Just friendly catch-ups. How's the transition going with Brett? I'd ask, is he taking care of you? The responses were telling. Honestly, Marcus, we didn't want to switch account managers. We barely know this kid. Brett keeps making promises he can't deliver on. We're thinking of going with another vendor. Why did you leave? You were the only reason we stuck with Meridian. I planted seeds. Small doubts. Nothing actionable. Nothing David could trace back to me. Just enough to make Brett's transition difficult. By month 4, I had a new job. A competitor. Smaller company, but they gave me equity and full autonomy. And they were very interested in my client relationships. I didn't poach. That would be illegal. I just let it be known through whispers, through LinkedIn updates, through the industry grapevine that I was back in the game. 6 of my old clients switched vendors within 2 months. 18 million in annual revenue, gone from Meridian's books. Brett got fired. David had to answer to the board about why his rising star had lost so many major accounts. But I still wasn't satisfied. See, what David didn't know was that I'd kept something I'd forgotten about until I was going through old files. 3 years ago, David had asked me to help him set up a side consulting company, just for some small projects. He'd said, keep it between us. He'd made me a co-founder on paper, 20% stake, but I'd never been involved in the actual business. I'd assumed it had gone nowhere. But during my research months, I discovered that David had been using that consulting company to funnel high-value clients away from Meridian. He'd pitch them expensive long-term contracts through Meridian, then quietly offer them independent consulting through our side company at a discount, keeping 100% of the profit instead of Meridian's cut. It was fraud, corporate fraud, and because I was still technically a co-founder on the paperwork, I had full legal access to the company's financial records. I spent weeks building the case. Every invoice, every client payment, every instance where David had stolen business from his own employer. It totaled over $2 million in the past 3 years alone. Then I made one phone call to Meridian's board of directors. I didn't ask for anything, didn't make demands. I just provided them with documentation and a simple statement. I thought you should know what your vice president of sales has been doing. The investigation took 6 weeks. David was fired on a Friday afternoon, escorted out by security, no severance package, no recommendation letter. The company immediately filed a lawsuit for the return of stolen funds, and the case went public. His reputation in the industry was destroyed overnight. Brett lost his new job when the connection to his uncle's fraud came out. He'd been accepting payments through the consulting company too, probably without even realizing what David was involving him in. I watched it all unfold from a distance, never commenting, never gloating, just watching. But the real twist came 3 months later. I received a call from Meridian's new CEO. They wanted to meet. I expected legal threats, accusations that I'd sabotaged David somehow. Instead, the CEO offered me David's old position, VP of Sales, corner office, full commission restoration for every dollar David had stolen from me, plus damages. We did a full forensic audit, the CEO explained. You weren't the only one. David was systematically stealing from 17 salespeople over 5 years. You're the one who exposed it. The board wants to make things right, and frankly, we need someone with integrity to rebuild the department. I looked at the offer. The salary was 3 times what I'd been making. The equity package was substantial. The corner office had that same view of the city, the one David used to enjoy while he lied to my face. And sitting on the CEO's desk, I noticed something. A photograph. The CEO and his family at some charity event, and in the background, partially visible, was David Chen, wearing that gold watch, the one I'd given him. The CEO noticed me looking. That was taken 2 years ago, he said quietly. Before we knew, that watch, he told everyone it was a Rolex his father gave him, wore it like a trophy. Something inside me shifted. I appreciate the offer, I said, but I'm going to have to decline. The CEO looked stunned. May I ask why? Because I realized something these past few months. David didn't just steal my money. He stole years of my life by making me think that kind of success, corner offices, titles, corporate ladder climbing was what mattered. He stole my time, my relationships, my peace of mind. And if I take that office, if I become him, then he wins in a different way. I stood up. But I do want one thing. That commission money you mentioned, the restoration and damages, donate it to a legal fund for employees who've been defrauded by their employers. People who don't have the resources to fight back, like I did. Make it anonymous. I don't need my name on it. The CEO studied me for a long moment, then nodded. That's very unusual, but I'll make it happen. I walked out of Meridian Tech for the final time. 3 months later, I got a message from an unknown number. Marcus, it's David. I know you're the one who destroyed me. I know you gave them everything. I just want you to know I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I blocked the number without responding. Because some people don't deserve closure. Some people don't deserve forgiveness. And some people need to live with the weight of what they've done without ever getting the comfort of redemption. The funny thing about revenge is that the fantasy is always sweeter than the reality. You imagine this perfect moment where your enemy realizes what they've lost, where they fall to their knees and beg forgiveness, where you get to deliver some brilliant final line that destroys them. But real revenge is quieter than that. It's watching someone lose everything they built on lies and knowing you didn't have to become a monster to make it happen. It's choosing peace over power. It's understanding that the best revenge isn't hurting them back, it's becoming so completely free of them that their existence becomes irrelevant. David Chen taught me a lot in those 6 years. How to close deals, how to read people, how to build relationships. But in the 6 months after he fired me, I learned something more valuable. That the opposite of betrayal isn't revenge, it's dignity. And sometimes, living well isn't just the best revenge. It's the only one that matters. If you enjoyed this story, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.